of applause from the house as Chris Miller concludes the introductory press conference of the new future of Monumental basketball, including, of course, new team president that I love. When I tell you I love what Michael Winger said. We're also going to talk about Will Dawkins and, of course, Travis Schlenk as well. The new front office of Monumental Basketball. Wes Hall here with Glenn Contour. Glenn, I just want your instant reaction to what you just heard from everybody that was asked a question.
You know, I'm really impressed because I think, you know, what we heard from Will and Mike is that they got to take a look at everything.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to jump in and all of a sudden make massive changes because they really need to evaluate.
Right.
You know, they like the talent that's here. That doesn't mean they're going to blow it up. It doesn't mean that they might not blow it up. But they got to really take a look. These two guys really have done a great job where they've come from in executing change.
Right.
So I think that's what's exciting to me. Also, you know, they respect what's here.
Right.
And that's a big deal to me.
I think that's very important. Matter of fact, that might be the cornerstone of importance because it's easy to come from the outside and say, all right, I'm going to create a clean slate. But Michael even said it when Chris asked the question. He said there are so many pieces here that you have to value what they are. It's about now finding the proper chemistry. As you see these three players, these three people, they're players of mine because everybody's on our team. But you're looking at over almost 66 years of combined NBA experience on the court. Most notably this one, Glenn. Michael Winger is 43 years old. Will Dawkins is 37 years old. The youth, you could feel the energy and the passion that they have for wanting to create a culture of winning here. Is that something that you saw as well?
Absolutely. I think it's, you know, first of all, the youth is a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, this is modern day young guys that have tremendous experience. And I mentioned that shot of vitamin B.
Yeah.
That shot of vitamin B is young vitamin B.
Yeah.
It's nouveau vitamin B. So to me, it's a good thing. And I look at these guys, you know, Sam Presti, who Will Dawkins worked under, is very successful. Lawrence Frank, who Michael Winger worked under, very successful.
Some heavy names here.
Right, you know, Travis as well. I mean, here's a guy that, you know, has been multiple organizations like Atlanta that have turned it around. The fact that they have executed strategically, learning from guys who have gotten it done, to me is a big deal.
Here's the other thing when you think about the OKC situation, most in particular for Will. Building a culture there. Remember, that team moved from Seattle to OKC where there was no basketball culture.
Right.
They built that from the ground up, even had an NBA Finals appearance. We know about all the high-profile players that were actually on those teams. But the fact that he and Michael together have an understanding of how to take something from the quote-unquote nothing and build from the bottom up, this has to be something that Wizards fans can lean in and say, I like the pedigree of these guys. I like what they've done so far. Now let's see if they can combine here in DC and make it happen.
Let me tell you why as well. You're making a good point.
Please do.
Here's the bottom line to this. At OKC, they did a great job of, they weren't afraid to trade their best player, right, and take a chance on a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who turned into a great player.
Yeah.
Plus the fact that they have done an amazing job with their draft picks.
Indeed.
The Clippers, you know, they went out and got
you get Paul George, and you sign Kawhi Leonard, and you put them to their first final appearance, NBA
superstars,
conference final, appearance ever.
Blend those two guys together with how they build teams. I think you got a winner here.
And let's add this part to it as well. Travis Schlenk. And people will say, all right, well, where's the player personnel kind of guy come into it? He has full authority about scouting not only the pro players, but the amateur as well. So that includes looking at guys that are going to be on the go-go roster, who will make their way up into the Wizards roster. We just came off a season where you had two young guys, whether it's Jordan Goodwin and Quentin Jackson, take advantage of the opportunity afforded them. When a guy like Travis comes into the fold, you'll see what he's been able to do. Matter of fact, most notably, look back at those Golden State Warriors years. He was the assistant GM for 5 years, director of player personnel from 2010 to 2012. If I'm not mistaken, there were some people on that roster by the name of Draymond Green, who were drafted organically. You might have heard of him. Steph Curry organically drafted, Klay Thompson organically drafted, and Klay and
Steph Curry as well.
Right.
Organically drafted.
Organically drafted. But when you look at Klay and you look at Draymond, those weren't top 3 or 4 picks. These guys were down in that first round, 14, 15 picks. When you want a guy who's over scouting in your personnel, when he comes with a pedigree that Travis Schlenk comes from, you have to smile as a Wizards fan.
Yeah, no, I think what this is just, you know, again, just a shot of nuance.
Yes.
It's really new ideas, new cultures,
yes,
new direction, and a new thought process in building the organization. With those three guys, you really had that formula.
One of the things that I also appreciated hearing was about his rather candid response to the authority or freedom that he has been afforded. I mean, Michael Winger, in regards to the free agents that are on this team and the decisions that they have to make coming up soon. That's what I'm so appreciative about. And as a matter of fact, we're about to be joined here by Michael Winger here in a moment. Matter of fact, it's going to happen sooner than you realize. I'm excited about it. I want to go ahead and bring him in now. Whenever Michael's ready, we can go ahead and do this. We're going to hook him up. Come right on in.
There he is.
Come right on in. How you doing, Michael? Pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Wes Hall officially.
Michael.
Glenn Consor officially.
Michael
Winger, the president of basketball operations for Monumental Basketball. First and foremost, like Chris Miller did earlier before, we want to welcome you to D.C.
Thank you so much for having me.
I could see the passion in your eyes when it kind of it hit home there for a moment. Close. You're like, wait a second, I get to raise my kids here. You have ties to this organization previously. We'll get to that in a moment. But I just want your instant reaction to the full emotions that you were feeling when you were officially announced as the president of basketball here.
Oh, it took every ounce of energy, every ounce of focus not to fall apart when I'm thinking about the group of folks I'm going to get to work with here. Ted, I spent so much time with Ted, and his passion for the team, his passion for the city just oozes out of him. And, you know, it's moving for a guy to have that much passion and say, here you go, man. Like, I need you to do something with this. And it's overwhelming. And then, you know, I'm trying to fight the emotion, and then I look at my daughter and I think, okay, she's going to become an adult in D.C., and my other three boys are going to become adults in D.C., and I have a lot of friends from D.C. They're all just cultured, intelligent, humble, caring people, and I know that's what the city and the region sort of nurtures a kid to become, and I'm extremely blessed to be able to do that here.
I'm glad to have you.
Mike, what is your vision? I know it's an open-ended question, but you know, there's always a timeline. I know that you still are in, as you had mentioned, the evaluation stage of all this. But what is your vision of this organization, and what is the time frame where you're going to be happy? Hey, I'm glad I'm here at a year or two.
As it relates to the timeline, I think every day the folks that are here, myself included, you, Ted, every day there's going to be something that we do that makes the folks inside the walls proud, the fans watching proud. There's going to be something we do every single day that's going to make folks who are watching proud. It might be small, but over a period of time, and it probably will take years, but over a period of time, those moments of pride, those moments of improvement, those moments of just advance, they compound on each other, and they pick up momentum, and eventually you blink and we're a perennial playoff team. You blink again and we have multiple all-stars. You blink again and hopefully we're contending for championships. I just don't know how many blinks it's going to take.
Right, no, absolutely.
You know, it's something else interesting too, Michael. We hear the metaphor of cooking, right? You know, it's all about who buys the groceries and then who actually cooks the meal. But a meal is not properly done unless it's actually done in the proper order. So we know that you have free agents, you have the draft, you have guys who are already here, veterans on the staff. What are your cornerstone elements, cornerstone principles to be able to create this culture of winning that you're mentioning? And then more importantly, how do you sustain that?
I think great question. The folks that we bring in, they have to love basketball. If they love basketball, all the rest, it just falls into place. It comes easy. If you love something as much as we want our guys to love hoop, they're going to work at their game. They're going to work at the things they're not great at. They're going to work on the things that they are great at. The folks who aren't on the court, whether it's our strategy team, our player development team, our evaluators, they're just going to improve every single day at whatever it is they do. And eventually, again, like all of these skills, all of these talents, they're going to coalesce, and you're going to see a team that sort of reflects all of the inputs from all of the people, and the team will get better. The fans are going to find hope. The building will be more energetic. I think that's the plan. Yeah. And I know it's not terribly sexy. It's not something we've yet to put on a piece of paper, but I mean, as Ted said, he wanted something that he could demonstrate to the fans. Hey, look, we're in this for the right reasons, and we're in this to get better. However long it takes, and the rest is on Michael.
Right.
And okay, let's go.
Mike, you watch the NBA Finals. You watch Miami and Denver, where those teams have come from, and it seems like the buzzword is always culture. All the analysts, and I'm an analyst. We talk about team culture, and it seems like that is so important to start as a foundation. Has there been teams out there that you have watched? Now, you've done a great job executing with the Clippers, executing a strategy to turn a franchise around. But is there a role model franchise that you have looked at and said, wow, that's a pretty good role model?
Certainly. I mean, you said it, the two teams in the finals right now, everybody should look to for inspiration and to steal whatever they can from those organizations. Obviously, they're doing a lot right. And there are other organizations. I don't necessarily want to sort of put them on the screen quite yet, for fear that they're going to be, they're going to shut off their phone lines. But I mean, it's really hard to turn your eyes away from the Miami Heat. They're just,
it really is.
I mean, they are a classy organization that do things the right way, and year in and year out, they produce extremely competitive teams, and they do it the right way. They don't cheat the process.
Right.
And so we'll continue to look to them, and of course Denver. I mean, their best players were drafted and developed by the organization, and I think that's a recipe for success.
I've got two quick questions for you. One about the WNBA, and we'll get to that one momentarily. But you have a pedigree of dealing with high-profile superstars within this league. When you know about certain markets that players are drawn to, from the outside looking in, now, of course, being Dave Wynn on the inside looking out, how do you make this market an attractive location for big-name free agents to want to come here?
I think the first thing you have to do is you have to show them that you care, and that's the little things. It's having the right infrastructure, whether that's the medical space, the evaluation space, the analytics, the strategy space, the family services space, the facility, whatever their experience is in DC, they remember that. They remember how you make them feel. And so the first thing we have to do is we have to make folks, particularly the stars, we have to make them feel welcome. We have to make them feel like we support them and that we're going to eliminate as many distractions as we can so that they can just focus on basketball, getting themselves better. If they're getting themselves better, chances are they're going to help their teammates get better. And so if we just clear the decks for them, let them focus on basketball, guys are going to want